Camilla Tominey and Gordon Rayner here, both associate editors of the Telegraph. Having just seen the speech, Gordon, what did you reckon?
We did. Well, I thought she did pretty well, really. I thought, she had obviously a disruption from Greenpeace protesters complaining about fracking. I thought that actually did her a favour, really. It was a bit like, a football team when the opposition teams put in a bad tackle, G's up the crowd.
Yeah.
I thought that sort of gave her a bit of a lift. And I thought she was very passionate. I thought all of her language about the anti-growth coalition, we really saw some real passion from her.
Yeah.
And I thought she finished the conference on a high note.
Yes.
And I think after everything that's gone on this week, that was vital. One speech isn't going to suddenly fix everything.
No.
But I think the members that we were talking to on the way out enjoyed it, felt she did a good job, and she'll have sent the membership home with a bit of a spring in their step,
Yeah.
which maybe we wouldn't have thought was possible yesterday.
It's easier to outperform when expectations are quite low. What I quite liked about it is she put some of her personality into it. So she was talking about her childhood, talking about growing up in Paisley and Leeds. We've heard that narrative. We hadn't heard the story, for instance, of her being given an air hostess badge while her big brothers were given pilots' badges. And she talked quite personally about what's motivated her to come out with this policy platform.
It was the start of her journey, apparently.
Indeed.
That's the moment.
I felt that considering everything that's happened, and it hasn't been an easy conference, she seemed quite comfortable in herself.
Yeah.
There's been this criticism in the past of her delivery. She does do the whole invisible tea tray thing a bit with her hands. But actually she looked confident out there, and she actually looked quite cheerful. I mean, she was upbeat, wasn't she?
She was a lot less wooden than I think we've seen her in the past, and I think it was because she was kind of unleashed a little bit, wasn't she? As we said, when she was talking about the anti-growth coalition, when she was talking about people going from North London townhouses to BBC studios to sort of talk about the same old stuff on high taxes. That's clearly, you really felt that was coming from very sort of deep inside her. She really doesn't like that.
No.
And she thought, let's just go for it. And it was quite refreshing, really.
And having a go at the Twitter left, as you say, the BBC there, she had a good stab at Starmer. She could have been more attacking of Starmer, maybe, but she wanted to keep the speech to setting out the vision. And that's what's important. All week, everyone's been saying, where's the narrative? You've got to explain some of these decisions. Where is your unique brand of sort of redux Thatcheritism coming from? And I think she's actually done that by explaining her own childhood background and how that's brought her to this position. And actually I thought the overall messaging, going for growth, talking about growing the growth pie, and also getting Britain moving, and this idea that she's in a hurry. Some of the criticism is that she's rushed out these tax cuts, but she's saying that she's a woman in a hurry, right?
Yeah, I think the problem, if we're looking at the sort of, we talked about the positives in the speech. I suppose the negatives are that there weren't really any policy announcements because there couldn't really be. She's been pretty much hamstrung. She obviously didn't mention the 45p tax thing. I thought she might have addressed that a little bit more.
She just said basically, look, I've listened and I've changed. She repeated the lines that have been the lines all week.
Yeah.
We've listened, we get it.
Yeah.
There was no more on that.
Yeah. But on the whole, it didn't feel like a speech being delivered by somebody who was, in a hole.
Yes.
And didn't quite know how to get out of it. So I think that they will feel that she's done as well as, and maybe a little bit better than she could have done given the circumstances.
Basically, the conclusion, I think, is that conference has ended better than it started.
Right.